Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily. Nothing's changed, still looking for this C down. On the lower time frame, there still is possibly more downside, like I've gone over. I'm looking at this 3, 3, and 3 or 5 up in here for a complex correction before we get more downside. On the H4, on the H1, it's very choppy. It's very difficult to get in. It's more bearish than anything. There's a lot of bearish divergence here, and yeah, it's very choppy. So really, to get into a buy is going to be very difficult. We already have that bearish divergence. If we got a bearish impulse and a bearish correction, well, you could look to go and break the low. But there's no sell set up on it yet, and really I wouldn't be buying into something that's so choppy like this. This is more corrective than anything. AU on the daily, so nothing's changed on the daily. I'm looking for this C up, possibly up to that 100 fib before we get more downside. Again, on the H4, we got a nice correction here. We've got an A, a B, and I'm looking for a C up, or it may even turn motive and be an expanding flat. But this is, it's already broken the top. I was looking for a B, C here on the H1, but we got a wave A, we got a wave B, and it's already gone and broken the top. So we do have bearish divergence overall. It's still looking very much bullish. If I just go down to the M15, you could look for a wave 5 up. Like we got like 1, 2, 3, you get an A, B, C in here, some sort of a flat in here, and then you get an A, B, C, and then I'd be looking for that 5th wave up. This is looking very corrective here, but if you're going to buy this, I'd be careful because it may just come and break the top and it gives you a flat like an A, B, C in here, and then you get that A, B, C before you get a buy set up and it goes. So you get that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. GU, nothing's changed on the daily. Still can get up to this 100 fib. We're waiting on the H4 for this C down, and looks like we're getting that. So this has taken a while before we get this wave C down. I've been mentioning this for a long time. You know, we got the 5 up here, we got an A, looking at that as a B, we get a C down, and then look for a buy set up to buy. This is very choppy too. It's very difficult to sell into this. You know, the H1, we're already getting that bullish divergence. Yeah, I mean, really, if you're not in, I mean, this was the sell set up here. We got a nice impulse down. We had this correction here. If you've lived through that, well, you know, I'd be holding it for a little bit longer, but, you know, I'd be starting to think of taking half off as well, because we're starting to get that bullish divergence. This may give you an impulse. This is correction, and we get another one up in here. So yeah, the only way I would buy this, if we got a nice impulse up and a correction, then I'd consider buying it to go and break the top again. I don't think this, you know, on the H4, I'd like to see more downside in this wave C. Ideally, we get more downside, and then I'll look to buy. But it may give you a buy set up in here, like I just showed, go and breaking that top. If it does that, well, you know, I'd still be looking at it as a B wave, and then I'd be still looking for a C down before, you know, we get more upside. EU, on the daily, we're just about up to that 100 fib, but very similar to GU. We're waiting for that C down. We got the 5 up here. We lost the divergence, and I'm looking at that A, B. I'm waiting for this C down. But again, on the lower time frames, this is very much bullish. This in here is very much bullish. So the only way I'd buy it, we've already got the bullish divergence, so it's very difficult to sell into this. It's risky. If we got a nice impulse up here, breaking the top here, and a bullish setup, well, you could scalp it to go and break this top. It's really just scalping because, again, like GU, I'd be looking at that as the end of the B wave again, and all this is the B wave. So, yeah, unfortunately, we aren't getting this nice C down yet, and it's still looking very much bullish. NU, nothing's changed on the daily, looking for more upside, possibly up to that 100 fib. H4, this did give us a nice C down in here, like I've mentioned. Well, we got this nice impulse up. I was looking at that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we got an impulse down in here, completing a complex correction. You could look at that as a flat as well, but a running flat, but I look at it as a complex correction. Then we got a nice impulse up. So if I go down to the lower time frames, we may actually get a buy here. We got a nice impulse up. We're sort of getting a correction. This is quite messy here, so this possibly could be a flat, and we get another one down in here. If we get another one down in here, well, you could then start looking for buy to go and break that top. And more than likely, this will turn motive and go up to that daily 100 fib target. But at this stage, it's quite difficult because this is so choppy. This is very choppy, so yeah, it can be a flat here. So, this may come down and break the low. On the lower time frame, you may get a buy setup on it. And I'm really only looking for a buy setup going with this trend here, this impulse here. I'm going with that impulse there. You may get a buy setup on this, so it's quite risky, but I think we will get a little bit of upside here. We do have a bull hidden here, so you could look to buy. It's not ideal, and it may just turn into a flat, some sort of an A. This is a B, and you get a C up in here. But if you got a buy setup, you could trade it just for this C up, and if you're lucky, it takes off. But it may just be a flat, and you get another one down in here, like I was showing on the higher time frame, coming down, breaking the low, and then we get a buy setup. So at this stage, it is quite risky. It's not ideal. And the reason I say that is, this is the low here. This is the low here, not here. So this is more corrective here for more downside. So, you have to be very careful with the buy at this stage. I believe there's possibly a little bit more downside. And then we may get that nice buy opportunity like I showed. Come on. The internet's playing up. Come on. There you go. So GY, looking at this C up in here before we get an A, a B, and a C. So nothing's changed. It can get up to this 100 fib, like I've mentioned. There's been a few buy setups on this, but it's very slow. I mean, it's still looking very much bullish in here too. This is looking very much bullish still. I was looking for that wave 5 up on the H1, looking for a wave 5 up here and never went up and broke that top. Instead, it come back down. So we're getting a larger correction here. It still does look corrective, you know. You sort of have a flat in here, like an A, B, C. You may get something in here to buy, but yeah, I mean, it's a larger correction than this, so we have to be very careful. It may become more complex, this correction, but it still definitely does look bullish. You know, we have bullish hidden divergence here. So if you do get a buy setup, you could look to buy to go and break the top. I wouldn't be calling it a fifth wave, but you know, if you get a buy setup, you could look to go and break that top. You definitely want to, you know, start thinking about taking half off, because, you know, as soon as we get more upside, I dare say we'll get that bearish divergence in this wave 5. Well, like I mentioned, I'm not really going to call it a wave 5, but yeah. At this stage, it's very difficult to trade, you know, because this one didn't go. You know, ideally we would have got a correction in here after this nice impulse here, and that would have been our signal to buy. Instead, it come very deep to this. It didn't go and break this low, but it, very deep. So more than likely, this is just like an A, B, C in here, a flat in here. You get another one up. You get another one up in here, and then more downside. You get an A, a B, a C, and more downside. So yeah, I'd be very careful. You could go down onto the lower time frames, look for a buy in here, because this does look like a flat, expanding flat in here to buy, just to go and break the top. It's basically just scalping on the lower time frames. UY on the daily, nothing's changed. I'm really keeping out of this, like I've said for a long time. This low here wasn't broken over here. Would have been nice. We get an A, B, and a C, and then I could load up on a buy. But we've been looking at this flat in here on the lower time frames. It's really just looking at the lower time frames. So we did get this C up that I was looking for. Or we are getting this C up that I've been looking for a while, last few weeks. So now I'd be looking for, you know, a nice sell setup here on the lower time frame. I dare say we are getting bearish divergence here on the H1. And we are. This one played out a lot better than GY. You know, we got the 5 up on this one. We got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. We're starting to get that bearish divergence here now. So if we got a nice impulse down, a sell setup, or a correction, and then a sell setup, you know, we could look to sell for that larger C down. This one here on the H4. But as for the buy, we've already got the 5th wave up on the H1, so not really looking for buys now. You're either in it or you're not, and there is no sell setup on it at this stage. The CAD, nothing's changed. If you've been following me for a while, you know, I'm waiting for this time factor here. This wave 4 has come into the territory of wave 2. It still can go up and break the top, but yeah, for a wave 5. But yeah, it's, if this low here gets broken, the ending point of this wave 2 gets broken, well then, you know, we get a correction, then we can look for a nice sell. But that hasn't happened on the daily, so the H4, I'm looking for at least a C up here. I haven't got it on here, but I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C up to this 100 fib, and then possibly more downside. So again, if you're looking for the buy, you know, I'd be watching the price action around this 100 fib, whether I'm going to take, you know, half off or take it all off. If we do get this C up in here, up around this 100 fib, get a nice impulse down on the lower time frames and a correction, well, you could look to sell to go and break this low. It's really just scalping on CAD, you know. The Swissy, we got this running triangle in the middle here. We got an A, a B, a C. I'm still thinking we'll get more downside looking at the lower time frames. I'm looking at this flat here. Well, complex correction. Nothing's changed. You know, looking at that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get 3 or 5 up in here. The problem here is we may actually get, this is quite slow in here, so we may get another one down in here for some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here before we get that upside. If you go down to the H1, you'll see, you know, it's very choppy. I would be looking for a buy for sure, but how far it goes, it's a very risky trade. You know, we sort of have like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so we get 3 or 5 up in here as a complex correction, and then more downside. So it's really just scalping. It's more bearish. I'm looking at a complex correction like I just showed you there. I don't have the count on it, but you can see this like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 or 5 up in here before more downside. More than likely, we'll just get the third one up. It'll bounce off this trend line, and you know, we'll get more downside. So it's really just scalping at this stage, you know. EG is playing out pretty much how we've been looking at it for a very long time. You know, we're getting this fifth wave up here. We had that bull hidden in here. We're looking at that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had that bull hidden. So we're looking for this to go and break the top, and it's just about broken the top. If you're not in it already, you're pretty much staying out of it now because we've just about broken the top, you know, this top over here. There was looking for that buy last week. In here, but yeah, I mean, there's really not much you can do now. You know, this was the buy setup down here. If you've been following me for a while, this is where we were looking for this buy. Not up here. You know, the higher it goes, the riskier it is. So just remove these. But yeah, I mean, you can scalp the buys if you get buy setups on the lower time frame. You can scalp them, but yeah, it's really just scalping. We're in this wave 3, so I'd be expecting a little bit more upside, possibly up to this 161.8 fib retracement. Then I'd be looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up. So yeah, at this stage, there really isn't much on it. You're either on it or you're not. Yeah. Yeah. WTI, it didn't really follow what I was looking at. You know, I was looking at that A, get a B, and we get this C up in here. It didn't really go far enough. And then we had this big drop down on the lower time frames. If I just show that, still possible it will go, but you know, very risky. I'm looking for that 1, 2, 3, get a wave 4 here and a wave 5 up. It never went. Instead, this is looking very corrective. We did have that bull hidden here. So I'd be expecting this to, even if the like that bull hidden doesn't play out, we still get a very deep correction in here to this move. But you know, to buy into this, it's looking very corrective. If I just go down to the H1, and you can see how corrective this is. You know, this is very corrective in here. It's more of a sell. But in saying that, you know, with that possible bull hidden, I wouldn't be surprised if it does come up and break that top, or at least, you know, get to the 90 fib of this impulse down in here. So, there is a bull hidden in here as well. So that top's nearly broken as well. So it's really just scalping. If you got a sell set up on it, you could look for a sell too, because this is looking so corrective. If this does come up, break this top, which I dare say it will, and then we got a nice impulse down and a sell set, well, a correction and then a sell setup, you could look to sell it. As for the buy, well, you're really just scalping into a correction. It looks very corrective to me. So I doubt if we're going to get that wave 5 up on the H4. Gold, looking at this time factor here, really need this time factor like I've shown. I'm looking at that 1, 2, 3, waiting for this time factor. Other than that, we're just scalping on the lower time frame. And I've put this count on a long time ago, looking at this complex correction here. It's pretty much playing out how I was looking at it. Looking at that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we get 1, 2, 3, or 5 down in here for a complex correction, filling in that time factor for the daily, and then I'd be looking for the buy for that wave 5 up. It's pretty much played out how I was looking at it last week. We're looking to buy this just for a C up. Like we're looking to buy this in here last week for an a B, and a C. You're either on it or you're not. It may go and break this top here. Not really looking for it to, but if you're on it, stay on it until you see it start to reverse or give you a sell setup. But yeah, I'm looking at that A, B, C, or possibly 5 down as that complex correction, like I've mentioned. I wouldn't try and go. Well, you could scalp the buys in here on the lower time frame, but yeah, can't really go into that on YouTube, or else we'd be here all day. Um, Silver has pretty much played out. We got the 5 up, we got the larger correction, and it's gone up and broken the top. So I was looking for this wave 5 up in here. It didn't really give us a nice correction. Ideally, it would have given us like another one down in here, breaking that low, like I said last week, and then go. Instead, it's gone already. So yeah, we were looking for this wave 5, but it sort of wasn't the best setup to buy. It was quite risky to buy in here. There was buy setup in there, but it's really was just scalping. I thought this might have just come up here, breaking this top, and then given us another one down. But yeah, it took off. So you could scalp the buys, going with the trend. But yeah, I'd be waiting for a correction or something in here. A correction, ideally get a bull hidden or something in here to confirm more upside. And you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the H1. Bitcoin, yeah, so this one's pretty much played out too. We got the 5 up, larger correction. It's gone up and broken the top. I was looking for a flat in here, as you can see. It never gave us that flat. Um, So now this has gone too far. I'm not looking at this for a C down in here now. This has gone way too far to get a C down. Yeah, it's taken off. There was a buy setup in here showing in the weekly outlook. Oh, sorry, the daily outlook. But it was more of a scalp up to this 100 fib, but it took off. So you get lucky like that sometimes. And yeah, so this correction here I was looking at hasn't played out. So pretty much, you're just scalping buys on the lower time frame, basically. You sort of got like 1, 2, 3. Wait for the wave 3 to be over on the H4, and then wait for a wave 4, and then trade a wave 5 up. Yeah. Other than that, you're scalping into a wave 3. S&P 500, we had the Z up. We got large expanding flat here, and it's already gone broken the top. So, it's risky buying at the top of the market. H4, we do have 3 up in here, like an A, B, C. We are getting the bearish divergence, so again, starts to become risky buying, especially up the top of the market. We may get a flat in here. We're starting to get a correction, but we could look at that as like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It sort of did give us 3 down in here, so it may go from here. For more upside, it's really just scalping. As soon as these definitely want to be a break, even at the break of these tops. We're going to get a lot of bearish divergence once we do. Yeah. I don't think this did break the top when I was looking at it last week. This top over here still hadn't been broken, but this is more on the W1. I've showed this before, that B wave. We got the C down, and this is a large flat in here on the weekly. It's pretty much playing out. We're just waiting for a correction, a nice correction, and we may be getting that. Ideally, we get a flat in here, like an A, get a B and a C down in here, a running or expanding flat, and then a buy setup. The further this C wave goes down, the better risk reward we're going to get. Ideally, we do get a nice C down, nice buy setup, and we can look to be buying into this correction here. We still may get another one up in here, like an A, B, C, A, B, C, and this is still in the C wave, but I'd be waiting for this C down in here for this A, B, C, and then start to look for a buy. Really need that time factor and a nice looking correction before I'd start to buy into something that's right up the top of the market. So the FTSE is pretty much, I was sort of looking after this one down because we had that bearish divergence here. I was looking for more downside. Instead, we got that big impulse up like on the other indices. We were looking for the buy there. It's already gone up and broken the top. So, again, it's, you're really just scalping. You're sort of looking at waiting for a wave 5. Like you got a flat in here for like 1, 2, 3. You got to wait for this wave 4, and then I'd look for a wave 5 up. Just scalping. I'd be waiting for a bull hidden or something in here before I'd look to buy. Lastly, the DAX. I mean, this one here did have a bull hidden too. That low there wasn't broken. It's gone up and broken that top. I thought it was just S&P 500, but we did have a bull hidden there. Yeah, it's right up the top of the market now. So, we were looking at this flat in here. If you've been following me for a while, you get that one. A, B, a C. It's getting very choppy in here. Probably get another one up. Excuse me, probably get another one up here, but yeah, it's just scalping, and you're scalping right at the top of the market. You got to be very careful. This could fall over at any time. So I hope you get something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.